Hey there, and welcome to the ADK channel. I'm here with Kirk. Unfortunately, no Andy tonight as he is away on some other projects, but I do have Rob, Steve, and Holly from the wonderful Silverhex. Welcome to the channel.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
So it's great to see you. We saw you a few weeks back at a live show, but before we get into talking about the future of the band and what your plans are for this year and beyond, we obviously need to cover off a couple of the key questions we ask all bands, which is, so your band name, where did it come from, the meaning behind it, and of course we'd like to get the history of how the band kind of came together, where you've gone through for any lineup changes up to date. Over to you.
Okay, shall I start with the name?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, right. Okay, so we were previously called something else, but it wasn't working. So we decided to get a new name, which was quite a lengthy process. We wasn't really agreeing very well, was we really? It was list upon list, and it got very political in the end.
We had a lot of ideas. We had a lot of ideas, and everyone had a slightly different feel on which way it could go. Not necessarily which way it should go, but which way it could go.
Yes, and we had Rick join us. And to be honest, I think I kind of opted out at that point, and I was just like, right, we're spending too much time on this. And Rick actually came up with the name. And how he explained it was when he came to rehearsal, I was all kind of had this silvery blonde hair and kind of almost a bit witchy-like. So he came up with the name Silverhex, and he was like, yeah, okay.
That'll do, yeah.
Let's go for it, let's move on, because we're going to spend another month discussing it, and that was enough, so yeah.
Fair enough. So about the history of the band, do you want to take us through how, because I don't know what the original lineup was, how many of the original members were there, so do you want to take us through that?
I'm happy to build that one.
Yeah, you go for it, Rob, because you was an original member.
So Steve and I were the original members. We used to know each other back at uni and always talked about doing a band together and never done it. And eventually, Christmas 2015 going into 2016, Steve messages me and goes, seriously, dude, can we do this? And as undramatic as that story is, we met at a pub and decided, yeah, shot it, we're going to go and we're going to do this. So we started advertising for other members. We were entirely different lineup originally. We had Luis, who was the drummer in Silverhex until he went back to Spain last year. And then we had a different singer and a different bassist, and we were called Hele Haunting. Weird name. And that fell apart, as many early incarnations do. We started searching again. That's how we came across Holly. Holly responded to one of our adverts.
Yeah, join my band.
Yeah, we put the song that became Eternal in front of her. It was just music. There was no direction, and she came along to the rehearsal with everything sussed out. And we were playing a whole song together. It was like, oh my god, this is awesome. And anyone who's heard Holly sing will know when you hear her sing, you're a little bit blown away by it. So I was like, right, yeah, let's have her.
Yeah, it was meant to be, wasn't it? It just was. Yeah, it was the right time.
Can I just ask, when Holly joined, that's probably have you then started to think, oh hang on, we can pivot our sound to other areas that we wouldn't normally have considered? Did that actually affect future songwriting, knowing that you had more in your repertoire?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I was going to say, because I think until Holly joined, there was a short embarrassing period where I think me and Bob thought we might just do the vocals. And I think at that point we were very much going down the sort of generic metalcore route. And then I think when Holly came and joined, we were like, well, actually, now that really opens up for some the big ballady bits that we've got, but also doesn't detract from any of the heavier bits that Holly can still does. And I think it definitely led us a bit, and obviously Holly brought in her own influences, a bit more of the, I don't know how to describe your influences, Holly, but more theatrical as the standard metal, I guess.
Yeah.
Theatricality.
Yeah.
It's always a good way.
Yeah.
Kirk, over to you. You've got some questions. Carry on.
Just so do you know the latest single, "Simplify Me," that came out in December, didn't it? Who wrote the lyrics to that?
I write all the lyrics.
Interesting song, and I've noticed as well. You've actually mentioned something that very rarely comes up intellectually: the burden of overthinking. So, what was the cause of if this is relating to you? What was the cause of the anxiety that led to overthinking? And
I'm a massive overthinker. That's just me. Yeah, I'm like that all the time. I overthink every single thing. So yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's all like kind of personal experience. A lot of things, either my personal experience or a personal experience of someone else that I know or something I've read. But yeah, it's trying to be just enjoy the simple things, not overthinking things, and relationships, all kinds. Yeah.
I think that a lot of that, the cause of that though, is surely, as human beings, the fear of the future. Even if that's not, what's going to happen to the planet, but you thinking, where will I be in 10 years, 20 years? What will I have achieved? Is that also
trying to be trying to be in the moment more?
Yeah,
I would say. Yeah,
because I think what interests me about that song is because when you look at obviously you have a mantra as a band, don't you? You want people to enjoy your music, you want to unite people, but it's not just party music, is it? There is a deeper emotional element to the music, isn't there? But I think what surprised me first time I heard Silverhex was I thought I know that Rob's background is in punk, but I thought that you were using quite a few snarly like punk rock techniques in your vocals. That really surprised me. I think because I saw you on stage, I just thought, oh, we're going to have a classically trained singer here, and I really enjoyed that more aggressive side.
Yeah. I don't know really. I just think that's kind of come over time because I've tried lots of kind of different styles with my voice, and I think my voice kind of matured more as I got older. But I've got a very vast taste in music, so.
I think that comes through, doesn't it, as well?
And yeah, I think we are quite passionate as people as well. And I think if you're not feeling it, you're not delivering a good song.
See, that's why, you said the diversity of influences. You might not like the term, but to me, if I had to classify it, I'd be like, oh, this is alternative metal, because you've got elements of prog metal in there. You like the guitar players, you like your In Flames, and I think your previous drummer, one of his favorite bands was Fear Factory, but there's also like new metal in there, Rancid, NoFX. I really enjoy listening to like that melting pot type approach to music. Sorry. Yeah, no, please go with that. Yeah.
Yeah, please, Rob, can you just talk to keep please? Just interrupt him, please.
I'm the worst for this because as soon as I get something in my head, I'm like, no, stop talking over me. But,
yeah.
But no, it was interesting what you were saying there about NoFX, Rancid, new metal bands, that era, because I think we're all of that same generation. And it is funny, that was, and I think Steve's the same, we very much started our kind of music life 14, 15 with the punk bands like Blink-182, NoFX, certainly I did, and then progressed more onto the metal side. But that was the music that was what we had. That was the journey that we had, which is different to everyone now. It went so quickly from this very fast punk, this sort of underground new metal sound, Cold Chamber and bands like that, to becoming very mainstream. Like there was that period, early 2000s, where rock and metal music suddenly really burst back out again. But it meant there was this massive progression from punk into metal, and it's kind of turned into like, I think of bands like Killswitch Engage. It got to that point, and that's kind of where a lot of it stayed. It's almost like that carried it on. So it's interesting that there is that influence in what we do, because I guess that was everything we were learning. But we had that massive melting pot just in the space of like 5 years in what we were listening to. I'm done.
Yeah, no, because when I described the set, at the gig 2 weeks ago, I said I was a bit confused by it, but also exhilarated. And I think I described it as, do you remember that female grunge band L7?
Yes.
And I got L7 vibes.
Nice.
It's like Avenged Sevenfold in there, and then almost like a really dirty punk rock sound as well. So I think that was what really captivated me, during the show.
Is it good confusion then?
Yeah, exactly. So my question is,
yeah,
what have you heard other people describe your music as, and how would you describe it?
Okay, so a lot of people will say, "Oh, you remind me of In This Moment." I mean, obviously, like that's quite a big influence for me, and I know Rob as well. Other bands, I'm not actually sure if many people have said.
Yeah, we don't get many
No.
comparisons, do we?
That's all I've had. That I've had that. People have come up to me and said that.
Crazy Fist comparison.
Sorry, who?
36 Crazy Fists used to
Oh,
come
right,
up.
okay, yeah. Okay.
That might have just been me, though. I think I just said that a lot because I really like them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, too.
How would we describe our sound?
Yeah,
who's going to field that one?
You've got to agree on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's different for everybody, isn't it? Like, everyone has a different kind of opinion. So, but for us, well, I think we're heavy, but we're also melodic as well. And our songs have meaning.
Just power, isn't it? It's energy is probably the big buzzword that I'd always throw out. It's energy and atmosphere all in one.
Yeah.
But as another band, I don't know.
Stephen, go on. You want to say that there's a prog metal element here, don't you? Periphery fan.
Especially if you can take something like Periphery, what they do well is, at least as we were talking about earlier, what they have occasionally done well is mixing in all the different elements. Maybe sometimes they take it a bit too far. We won't talk about the new album anymore. But yeah, I don't know, because like we've had to do this a few times, like when you pitch to new promoters or new venues, and they'll say like, "Well, tell us what you sound like," and I don't think we've ever really nailed this one down. I think we've always said like somewhere between In This Moment and Killswitch, but with a punk element thrown into the mix as well.
Yeah.
You're already on the second line of the description now, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think actually with the punky thing, it's funny because when I first started writing on acoustic guitar, I would always play like 3-chord songs, and I suppose they were always a bit punky, thinking about it now. So maybe that has developed that in my voice, that kind of punky sound.
I actually think punk metal is probably the best description of us. Or
Punk
metal. You know.
Punky metal.
I think what's really interesting is whenever we talk to bands, especially, we don't do it so much now, but we used to ask bands like, so how would you describe what genre you are? And they're like, oh, well, we don't really fit into any genre, and we're this, we're that. And to be honest, I'm sitting there in the back of my head going, no, that's rubbish. You're groove metal. It's really apparent you're groove metal. Stop saying that you're not, because no one likes to be pigeonholed. Silverhex is probably the only band, especially within the local scene, that I'm at a loss to actually decide what genre you fit into. And Kirk knows that I like to put people into genres because I feel comfortable if I know what genre you are. Because every band I'll be like, well, they're a doom band and they're a hard rock band. Yeah. That's a classic metal band. Whatever your main writing style is, or what main style is. But as you said, there are snippets. It's not even like you've got one song which you can go, oh, well, that sounds like a Killswitch Engage song. What you might have is a Killswitch Engage riff, but with a punk drum beat with some In This Moment vocals, and you're like, I have no idea what's happening right now. It sounds cool, but I have no idea what's happening right now. And that's the best way I can kind of describe Silverhex, because you can't really. You're the only band that I know that I can't actually pigeonhole into a genre, which is a big compliment. Because
I like that. I like that.
I've always been able to find a pigeonhole for every band. I can always find your genre, but for whatever reason, Silverhex, you've done it. It's impossible to put you in a box. I'm sorry.
Dave, just do what I do. Just use the lazy term alternative metal. That's, in fact, the only other band where I have this dilemma is your friends, Scarlet Envy. I think they're very hard to categorize as well.
Yeah.
No, they're hard rock.
No.
All right.
Have you listened to Mike's guitar playing? He's playing bloody black metal riffs.
No, it's hard rock.
No, alternative metal. Sorry, we'll not have this.
Yeah, no, I like them.
We'll take that off screen.
I'm looking forward to playing with them, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We was meant to be before, and then something happened, and I think we got offered another gig and we couldn't do it, but we're doing one in September with them. Bit of a way off, but
Okay.
that'll be really nice.
Yeah.
We haven't done that yet, so that'll be great.
Yeah.
Kirk, you got any more questions?
Yeah, just one more before I hand over to you. Division of Labour songwriting in the band. So Holly, I assume you write the lyrics. How does a song begin? Is it in a rehearsal studio? Is it
okay, so we use a thing called Band Lab.
okay?
Heard of that?
I haven't. I assume it's a digital interface where you can share audio files.
Yeah, so I mean, we use that some of the time, not all the time, but we can put our ideas on there. Usually, like someone will put an idea, a basis for a song, Rob or Steve, and then I'll have a listen and think, oh yeah, that really works, and I'll put some of my vocals over the top. Or if we're in a studio, sometimes we'll just do that sort of a riff and that. With the song, sometimes like Rob would have named a song, and sometimes it gives me an idea, or he names what he's done, and I'm like, actually, I like that name. I can take some inspiration off that name for the lyrics, and it kind of builds from there. Yeah, I've got like books and books of lyrics, so I'll kind of like look and be like, oh yeah, that fits with that, or just have a fresh idea. So yeah, it's not always the same.
Is it normally? Does the music start from guitar, or does I know that? You bass player. Does he never lay down the first track in?
He does. He does put stuff down, but we don't always use it. We love you, Rick. But yeah,
weird Colombian
that sounds terrible.
tribal type bass. I don't know.
He has a lot of ideas, but I tend to. I mean, when Rob writes or Steve, they're writing for vocals, like they can hear where the vocals are going to go in, and it works more that way. So yeah,
Well, it definitely works, doesn't it? So Dave, going to hand over to you just to find out, obviously, what's in the pipeline.
Yeah, because that was I had 2 questions left, and you actually mixed my questions. There you go. We were both thinking the same thing, the writing process. Okay, so the final question from us is really, what's the plan for 2023 for Silverhex?
want me to start this, or Rob?
I'll start. I haven't spoken for a minute.
Go on, Rob.
This year we had a pretty busy 2021 in terms of doing quite a few shows, mostly local London and into Essex, Hertfordshire, because we'd used the pandemic to basically finish all the stuff we'd been working on, get releases out, and actually get our online presence there. So we had something we hadn't had before. And last year was a kind of in-between year where, because of different things, I had a daughter, so I was not as involved as so it became a bit of a pause year. So we decided this year it would be good to almost start on the next chapter. We'd got all the stuff we'd written up to that point recorded, ready to be released this year. And it's like, right, well, let's use this year then. We've got bits to release to sort of say goodbye to the Silverhex that we've been the founding startup Silverhex. And so at the moment we're in the process of writing a bunch of new tracks, trying to get some new stuff together, ready for pushing for a tour later this year. So we're kind of hoping to come back in the summer as the next generation Silverhex, so the next step in our band's evolution, so this year's all about new material and getting as many shows,
opportunities. Yeah.
Pushing for worldwide, pushing for a UK tour this year as well.
So when you talk about things like a UK tour, is this something that you're looking to go out and do like a headline and put like 2 weeks and just go out there and do across the country, or are you looking at doing the kind of every weekend, Friday, Saturday nights, and doing dots around the country each weekend. What's your kind of thoughts around that touring process?
I mean, kind of. We're just kind of putting out feelers at the moment. Obviously, we haven't done anything like this before. Possibly it might be kind of at this stage getting some supporting gigs just in new areas. Maybe later on in the year it might be different, but kind of we're just kind of feeling our way at the moment.
We don't have to.
But yeah, kind of 2 weeks.
Sorry,
yeah, kind of 2 weeks is our plan.
Fair enough. No, well, best of luck with it. Hopefully it all goes well. It's touring at the moment is obviously a massive challenge for bands as well as we know, even locally. Just making sure people actually come out to gigs is a challenge. And one of the things that me and Kirk are going to be talking about on a video later this week is about festivals. And it's one of the things I was saying is used to be back in the 90s, you'd have about 4 festivals a year, and that'd be about it. Reading and Monsters of Rock, and now the festival season starts in April and it doesn't finish till late September, early October. And there's festivals every weekend, which kind of kills the local gigging scene. So hopefully you do well, and you can get either on a good support slot with someone, or you get some good local bands and get yourself out around the country. And best of luck with that.
Thank you.
So just want to say big thank you to Rob, Steve, and of course Holly from Silverhex for joining us today. Kirk, well, thank you for being here anyway.
And your moral support.
And yeah, best of luck, and please go check out Silverhex. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.